What is up, Alexity, and welcome back to Spokane. Today on the show, I'm sitting down with prod-synes-theet, a rapper, producer, guitar prodigy, and powerful voice in Spokane's creative community. From his early days of playing live music to his evolution into digital production during the pandemic, prod-synes-theet has carved out a space that is unique as it is impactful. We talk about his musical journey, how it started with the influence of his mom, a former pro vocalist, and how his experience with trauma and online harassment led him to reclaim his identity and privacy through anonymity. I really want to emphasize to anyone who's watching the podcast, Prod wearing a mask isn't just about the aesthetic. It's truly about protest, protection, and using that as a superpower. And I will say, I've known Prod for about 2 years now. I've had multiple conversations with him. At first, I would say talking to someone with a mask on was kind of weird and not something I was used to. But then as you get to know him, it becomes just a part of him. And truly, he's such a genuine person that it's easy to look past the mask now. So with that aside, we also get into his genre-defining new project, Distorted Dystopia, a huge project that spans 5 years, 3 volumes, and 30 songs. It's amazing. Go check it out on Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you listen to your music. And the conversation isn't in there. Prod also opens up about his advocacy efforts that extend beyond his music, most notably his upcoming anti-predator merch line, which he will donate a portion of the proceeds to support survivors of sexual assault and domestic abuse. While the Spokane-based organization benefiting from the donations asked not to be named in this episode's intro or any of its marketing, but Prod openly talks about their work and the impact during our conversation that you're about to hear. But lastly, I want to make sure you all have the opportunity to go catch Prod's first solo headlining show happening this Saturday, September 20th at the Big Dipper. You can check the link in the description for tickets and the full lineup of performers. It is going to be an amazing show. I say this endlessly on the podcast. Prod is such an amazing performer. He has so much energy, and this is one to go see. It's all ages, so pull up, go to the Big Dipper this Saturday night for what will be an amazing show celebrating all different types of music. You can also find a link to where you can listen to prod-synes-theet's music in the description as well. Go listen to his music, like I just mentioned. And again, Prod, you're amazing. This conversation was amazing. You really get to learn more about the man behind the mask and just what an amazing human he is. So I will not keep you any longer. Here is prod-synes-theet. This is Spokecast. Prod, thank you so much for joining me on Spokecast. I will say your full name. It's prod-synes-theet.
Yes, sir.
I think the last time you were on when we had the
it was with Scheme
and I definitely could not say your name correctly. And then our friend Riley Connors wrote an amazing piece about you. Like the best piece that was probably ever put on our short-lived soundtrack.
But shout out Riley.
And he spelled it out, and I was like, oh, I need to see the breakdown of how to say your name, and now I get it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your origins in the region. Are you born and raised in Spokane?
Yeah. So I was born in Seattle, and I came here when I was 2 years old.
Okay.
So I would say I'm definitely raised here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm from Spokane. I've always been here, to where I've experienced every aspect of my evolution as a person, both musical or non-musical. I would say I'm, Spokane, pretty much born and raised. Yeah.
So one of the early conversations I had with you, that was just I think we weren't behind mics or anything like that. We were just talking, and you were telling me about, you know, the project that I think, you know, the project we're going to talk about today. And you said like you can play any instrument.
I can play, if we're counting like MIDI controllers as instruments, I can play well over 10. But
okay.
If we're counting like instruments, my peak number was 8.
Okay.
I would need to brush up on a couple of them for sure, because it's been a while. But you know, I can go down the list. But I would say guitar is my primary, and then there's bass, there's drums, there's a little bit of keys, there's piano, there's tuba, there's baritone. And then if you count it, vocals, and then if you count MIDI controllers, depending on what they are, that's when it starts getting into weird territories of like, what is an instrument?
Are you like one of these musicians who has like perfect pitch?
Yes, I do have absolute pitch, and I do have synesthesia. I have graph me synesthesia, which is sound to color. So when I listen to music, I do hear colors, which is like really weird. It's, in layman's terms, synesthesia is the combination of multiple senses being stimulated by a singular one. And
so I know it's hard to explain, and I've kind of tried to learn but you see color.
Yes.
When you hear music.
Yes.
And it's in your vision? It
can be. It depends. So every time it's mental, no matter what, it's in my brain. But if I am, let's say, like, I'm also bipolar, so like I have mental health stuff. And if I'm like super manic, I will see just streaks of little highlights that are of the colors of the music I'm listening to.
Wow.
It's really crazy. It is really crazy.
And like when you're in the zone, like, do you also see it like when you're on stage?
Yes, that would fit the bill for sure. Of like, you know, some of that mania, like I'll just see little traces. It's not that I see like opaque colors. It's more that I'll see like little tints here and there that kind of float around and stuff. Depending on like, I have to be in that certain like super euphoric state or super, we'll say off baseline emotionally speaking, both positive and negative.
Yeah. Interesting. So, and that's where you got your name. It's like producer and synesthete.
Yes, because I am a synesthete who produces music, so prod-synes-theet.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
Yeah.
What was like a young Prod doing? Like how did you get into music? Like what drew you to it?
So
was it in the family?
Yes. I got to shout out my parents, shout out my mom and dad. I love you guys very much. Very special to me. So when I was younger, I think I was like 3 or 4, my mom was kind of weirded out because I was like, oh, this song's so pink to me. And they kind of like found out that way. Because again, I was born with perfect pitch and synesthesia. So I kind of said that when I was like younger, and they started getting my brain mapped, and they were like, oh, okay, this kid has this like condition. And by the time that I was, 10 years old, I picked up my first instrument, which was guitar. And so my mom started taking me to all of her band practices. My mom is a retired professional vocalist. She's played or sung with, Rick Rydell from KXLY, the owner of Pig Out in the Park, Costa Panitas, who has opened for Journey with Mojo Box, to name a few. And she raised me through music and gigging. So when I was 12 years old, I started noticing a bunch of kids having iPhones. And I was like, Mom, I kind of want an iPhone. She's like, you got to work for it. And so she eventually helped me get money through gigs. So I, started playing pro guitar and stuff and I started getting paid to play guitar when I was 12 years old. And, via like Green Bluff or other just various gigs. And so that's kind of how it started.
Yeah.
And, from there, when I was in 5th grade, I picked up trombone, started playing pro in junior high for guitar, did running start at SFCC, which shout out David Larson. If you know, he's a phenomenal saxophone player and even better composer.
Well, he's like, I went to a jazz, I went to a jazz concert at the Falls when I went there back in like 2003. And I think I saw a pretty famous jazz person play it, but I don't remember who it was. But Spokane Falls is like known for this having a really, really amazing music program. Yeah,
I would say it's very, very adept. It's very well faceted too, for both somebody who is getting into it and for also the experience. Especially when you have faculty members there like Dr. Larson. But when I was in running start, I joined their community wind ensemble / concert ensemble band. And eventually David and my high school teacher, who were just good friends, suggested that I joined their jazz band at the time. So I started doing, some performances with them when I was 16. And then some personal stuff happened, some mental health stuff happened, some traumatic experiences happened. And I kind of went under the radar from performing for about 5 years until I met LMNOP at Empire Alt Fest, where I opened for Jang the Goon, who was at the time Django.
Yeah.
And I played bass guitar that gig. And then by that time I had officially published music. Then I got absolutely scammed on promotions, got a bunch of bots on my stuff, wiped that discography. And then May 4th, 2022 is when I restarted as my current persona.
So you were not prod-synesthete before that?
No, I was just synesthete, but somebody's already had that name. And, and all my music, when I was just synesthete, kept getting uploaded under their stuff, and I'm sure that didn't please him either. I was not nearly as good as I am now. So So I would say that's pretty much the synopsis of like the upbringing, musically speaking.
Yeah. Was it always like fun, or like or did you ever get tired of it? Like I sometimes, if you ever go too hard and stuff as a kid, I feel like sometimes it can lead to burnout. Did that ever happen?
Not necessarily with music, maybe the context of what I did music for. Like I can say maybe performing for that period of time, that 5-year hiatus, like maybe a little bit, but I think I was more burnt out from school, university, you know what I mean? And just in addition to the personal stuff I was kind of dealing with, I think that a slew of things put together caused some burnout on the education sense. And it just caused me to keep chipping away at guitar in my bedroom, and I would just play until my hands were bloody and stuff. And,
gosh.
Like that's all I did, you know what I mean?
What's your favorite type of guitar to play?
I would say progressive rock. I love like Pliny, Stephen Dorano, old school Polyphia, Chon, to name a few. Wayne's another great one. Tosin Abasi. There's a lot of very enriching but very challenging metrics of how people can embellish the instrument. And I think it taught me that in general you can be unorthodox in your philosophical application of tools to play an instrument with any instrument. And that's why I really fell in love with guitar. You can really make that instrument communicate for you. So jazz, classical music, like, is what you were kind of starting with. Like, where did you get influenced by hip hop and also like by like metalcore? So when I was a young kid, I was listening to deathcore growing up too. But I would say the rap, when I was going to school at Eastern Washington University, I was originally going to be a music teacher. And wow, that degree was super hard. It was like, for the amount of pay that you were going to get, you had to, dude, you have to learn like 15 plus instruments. You have to learn how to play like 3 of each type of instrument to teach.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, imagine that. Anyways, at that time when I was going through college right before COVID, because I graduated high school 2019. I was a freshman in college, and I found Death Grips for the first time, and JPEG Mafia, which, if you know, JPEG Mafia hates Death Grips fans and vice versa. It's a whole thing, but I love Death Grips and JPEG. And I heard that style of music, and I was like, whoa, this is so unique. It was just the weirdest, but most just unpredictable thing that I ever heard. Every time I listened to either of their material, especially JPEG Mafia, it was an adventure. It was an experience. I wasn't just listening to something. I was experiencing something that I didn't know what was going to happen in during.
Interesting.
Even if I listened to a JPEG Mafia song like 50 times and I take some time off, maybe let's say a year or two from the song, I can listen back. I still will have it hit me just as hard.
Oh, wow.
Because it's just that unorthodox. It's that crazy. Your brain just innately doesn't think and doesn't compute things to happen the way that those artists challenge music to happen and to sound.
Totally. So what colors did you see?
It depends. It depends. It's all per key. It's per key.
Oh, okay.
So like, for example, C major is pink, A minor is flamingo pink, D minor is purple, F sharp major is kind of like orange with a little bit of like murky / dark seafoam green with like yellow. I don't pick these either.
You just like wow, that's interesting.
It's what I was born with. Like,
yeah,
those colors were set from the get-go. And yeah, it's just like hard to explain in that capacity. But atonal music that doesn't have a key, is gray. It's really weird. So industrial music, things that do not have a key, whether the notes are too modular or it is a textural song versus a melodic song,
okay,
that can really affect. It's a shade versus a color.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. So you mentioned Elemental P was like is that how you got into producing? Like, were you producing? Were you like, was there a big switch from like you were, playing instruments and then going from that to like producing and like making beats like on and I don't know what everything's called, like an MPC.
Yeah.
Like, was that a whole nother experience learning that?
Yes, I learned it during COVID.
Okay.
Pandemic.
Nice.
Because I was going to school at Eastern, and then freshman year, bam, February, school was shut down, everything. And by April, it was either, do I get high for the third time before noon, or do I do something? And I was just like, screw it, why not? Let's learn some music technology. And the reason why I ended up taking that chance and just was like, let's learn this, was because at the time, music technology was a program that was offered, that was newly instated at Eastern. And I was switching from education to that. And so I was going to transfer majors.
Gotcha.
Then the school shut down. Then I was like, well, I was going to transfer majors into this anyways because it piqued my interest. And so I decided to pick it up and try just teaching myself. And I learned via YouTube and just kept plugging away. And then eventually I met Sherm, and he taught me a lot of engineering.
Nice.
So he really helped me later on after a good 2 years. Because I met him in like February 2022-ish, February and March 2022. That's when I started learning a lot of the engineering. And because I told him about how my college program dissolved the music tech program later on. And then he pretty much gave me a very generous offer. It was just like, pay me my rate, I'll share with you what I know.
Yeah.
And so instead of sitting there with 60 other students, I got one-on-one teaching from one of the greatest to ever do it, to be quite frank, if you know his stats. And so that was what taught me the engineering, which helped me mix a lot of my own tracks and like better understand how to facilitate my own music.
That's awesome. So, yeah. I've only ever had one conversation with Sherm, but like I when people ask me like if they are looking around for someone to like help them produce, like, or get something mixed and mastered, like I tell them to reach out to Sherm, just because I don't know what his rates are, but I know that like he's pretty, like he's someone to reach out to in Spokane.
He's extremely generous.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say. He's extremely generous considering what this man has accomplished.
So was it like a beat? Were you trying to make a beat a day during COVID, or were you just like kind of just messing around and then kind of just go for there?
It started with messing around, just like experiencing like, okay, this is what this does. This is what this does. But eventually, it was just a beat a day keeps the pain away. It's like getting touches in a sport. You know, the more touches you get in a sport is like the more familiar you become with that. And I applied a very similar kind of mindset with production and audio engineering. It's like, okay, the more pieces I can create, the more familiar I can be with different circumstances that apply to what I'm trying to learn.
What do you use? Pro Tools?
I use FL Studio. So, okay. Well, I used to cross DAW for a long time. I used to record in Ableton and then bring it in FL. I produce strictly in FL. I can produce in Ableton too. I can make stuff in Logic Pro. I can record and mix in Logic Pro as well as Ableton. Studio One was a DAW that I used in college. Haven't really used Pro Tools a whole lot.
I only say that because that's the one I know.
Right. Fair enough. But I would say FL is my primary DAW.
And I guess I will probably get into this a little bit more, but like so you make your own music, but like producing or creating beats is like something you just like do like to make extra money, right?
I freelance, which I appreciate you bringing this up. I didn't even think about that. But I freelance studio time as well as productions. So again, because I have perfect pitch, I can reverse engineer most music.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it's something where people, once they realize, they have me reverse engineer a lot of beats. So they'll be like, can you make this beat almost exactly the same way? And I'm like, okay, look, I'm not just going to rip this beat off, but I'll give you something that's in the same pocket.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I don't want to just plagiarize someone else's work.
Right.
Even if I'm getting paid to do that, I'm not going to do that. But I'll still make something that's in the same like pocket, niche, subgenre. But yeah, I freelance beats, and it's case by case basis. It really depends on what the person's wanting, how many beats they want in the time, consistency with client work. Like it's very, you know what I mean? I have prices for, okay, if you're going to hit me only one time, here's what it'll be.
Right.
If you're coming to me weekly for studio time, here's what it's going to be.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It just depends on the person, because I try to work with budgets. I got to get compensated for my work.
Absolutely.
I work a very strenuous full-time job, and it requires a lot out of me. And I won't say what it is in the interview because like privacy and stuff. But,
yeah. Well, yeah, let's talk.
Yeah.
I want to talk about the privacy. Like and I'm not going to ask why the mask. I know it's not a gimmick. It's more of a shield. And that was something that was talked about in the article that Riley wrote. But like, yeah, why? I guess why do you wear a mask? Like I think that's something that they're gonna watch this. They're gonna see you on here, and they're like, why is this guy wearing a mask? Like, there's some artists that do it for a look or
an image.
Like the Shiesty is very famous, like in hip hop. Like guys just wear it. Some rappers just wear it just to look cool, and I know that's not the case for you.
Yeah, a lot of it. So I mean, I'll say it. I've had 2 addresses leaked 5 times, like home addresses leaked 5 times, starting from the age of 15 to 23, and for very negative reasons. People were pulling up to my house without me knowing, and were trying to do things like harm me in more ways than one. And I want to talk about these things, how they affected me. This is also one of the catalysts that made me choose rap for music, which almost backfired with the mask decision, because a lot of people, especially at first when they see me, they're like, oh, this dude's just wearing this to act hard and stuff. And it's like, no, it's privacy. Like if I'm at a grocery store, I'm buying eggs, leave me the hell alone. I'm buying eggs. You know what I mean? Like I'm not, you know what I mean? But I've been pulled up on quite a few times for very negative reasons, and I've been put in very compromised situations. And I want to talk about that. I want to talk about how it's affected me. I want to talk about the plausibility of it happening to someone else, because it's way more possible than people realize, especially with technological advancements that's going out. It's another reason I cover my face is deep fakes. I used to, I can say it, I used to shut down websites and I can't say too much more on that, but it was from 2016 to about 2017. I self-taught myself via nullbyte.com, nullbyte.com, and YouTube. And I just started doing payload sequencers via VSTs on a Linux dual boot and on a burner laptop, and just would run multiple VPNs that spoofed my location. In layman's terms, they would change my location area every like 15 minutes, and I'd have like 7 of those running at the same time, so that they each encrypted my location. So even if you got through one, you still had 6 more to go through. And so I was just shutting down websites, and you know what I mean? And saw some crazy stuff online and realized that, oh my gosh, a predator just needs a picture of your face off Facebook to Photoshop it on an illicit website. And it was just like really eye-opening to me. And I was like, I mean, deepfaking has been around since like 2014, and it got popularized in 2017, and now AI's out. We all know how good AI can get. So
almost too good.
Too good. It's almost too good. It's hard to distinguish the two now. And, from real or fake. And I feel like AI really took off in like 2022, like maybe I mean, like where you could get it where it was accessible, and like then like I forget what the program was where you could like ask it to draw something for you, and you could in 2022 it looked like crap, right?
And like now in 2025 you can ask it to draw something, and like I asked it to draw a photo of Oscar Schindler and barbed wire together, so I was just like, for whatever reason I wanted to see I wanted to see Liam Neeson and Pam Anderson as those characters, and it does it amazingly.
Yeah.
It's bizarre how well it does. And now there's videos that are coming out that are just, you're online, you don't know if you're watching sometimes AI or if you're watching something real.
Yeah. And again, like, what if somebody really just doesn't like you? They find a picture of you, Photoshop it on AI, and they have you saying something really bad online and they post it. You know what I mean? Or they leak a video. You know what I mean? And now people think that you just did this thing that you didn't do.
Right.
And, that's why, like, it's just privacy. It's the next wave. I think technological crime is the next wave, and I want to shield myself from being subjected to that.
Yeah. So how did online harassment like go into like real world stalking? Like what happened?
Yeah. So I'll explain the story of when I was 15. The other ones are a very long, like super long story, and I can't explain them. I'll do my best to explain them in short, given, our time.
Yeah.
But long story short, I used to play this game called Rocket League. It's like car soccer.
Yeah.
I was playing with this person who I never joined like a party with, like a voice call party, like a chat party. But we always would message each other via Steam. And I played with one of my other friends who was the same age as me. He was 14, 15 at the time. And eventually, all of a sudden, I get a message, like a text message from that friend, which, mind you, we were in a very small town, like, not going to say where, but my graduating class in high school had like 40 people. So very, very small school. And all of a sudden I'm getting a text, and my friend, was like, hey, you remember this player that we play with all the time, right? And I was like, yeah. And they were like, he came up from California. We met. And I was like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
What do you mean? I thought, if they're a kid, how did they do that? And they were like, oh no, this person's 48 years old.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And so that individual, that 48-year-old, I found out he came from like Mesa, California or something like that. Or no, San Fran. It was like San Francisco-ish area, and came all the way from there to here, a small town a little bit outside of here, and pretty much, preyed on, not pretty much, they did prey on that friend, and they tried to pull up on me. I avoided them. And then I got harassed via PIs when I was 15 years old, which is illegal. And so,
like private investigators.
Yes.
Okay.
PIs, because the person ended up getting caught and was going to court, and like PIs were hitting me. And then my parents found out, the whole school found out, the deputies found out, and it was like a huge deal. For obvious reasons. So that was the first thing. That was, I would say, the catalyst and the chain of events that later pushed me to want to talk about these things later. And then, back to what I was saying about shutting down websites, that was the catalyst in me being a pure heart in a corrupt space that led to self-righteousness. And it made it so I taught myself how to shut down, bad websites. Because I was like, screw these predators. I'm going to learn how to shut these sites down. And then I got doxxed doing that again. And this just got followed when I was like 16 in an unmarked car in my first week of my driver's license. That one was a very, very interesting night. And it's just, I've been put in some very unorthodox and very compromised situations. And, it's why I come across as strongly as I do in this category. And it's why I'm as disciplined in covering my face and, making sure that anonymity is present in my artistic endeavors.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean, it makes sense of why you'd want to, be incognito.
Yeah.
But is this also have to do with like the time, like when you were in college where you were like, kind of like broke away and you like stopped doing music? There were a couple other instances of like me being groomed by like a 21-year-old when I was like 15 turning 16, and then some stuff happened there. I got abused, for a lack of better terms, and that was the thing that caused me to pretty much go down the deep end and take that hiatus, because I just wasn't myself anymore, right? And
so I need that few year break to like really recuperate and gain a sense of like my independence and reestablish my autonomy. And the dignity that is your autonomy. So that was that like slew of events is kind of like what pushed that hiatus. And then when I heard JPEG Mafia talk about his take on predators and stuff. I was like, oh, you can talk about this stuff.
Yeah.
You can talk about this stuff, and you can do it like viciously. You can say it how it actually makes you feel. And, I can't lie. Like, the amount of seething emotion that consumed me through those experiences was so visceral, and it still makes visceral responses every time I think about them.
Yeah.
And so
it's so important to talk about, like, because it for anyone, like anyone that's ever been sexually abused, like I guess it's a process, obviously, right?
Yeah.
It's not like go and talk about it if you're not ready to talk about it.
Right.
But like, I imagine like getting to the point where you're like, I want to do something about it, and then and make a difference, like, and hopefully this will affect someone else that maybe have gone through this.
Agreed. Yeah. And now that we're on this conversation, I will kind of bring up that, I handled and I fought back and I provided resistance for myself the wrong way multiple times. And I got bit in, my hind for it. And, very recently I dropped my first merch collection.
Yeah.
And, this is something where its goal is to spread awareness on this and, to empower survivors to speak up. So you have a real G anti-predator merch. Yes, I have a real G anti-predator. I don't know if you can see it okay, but this is the front, and then this is the back.
Oh, nice.
Which you can.
Isn't that you?
Yep.
And this is printed by Chris Martin Corporat, and so this is a new merch line that you're starting.
Just started.
The first merch you've done for yourself, or ever. Yeah. And and you're saying 20 to 25% of all sales goes towards. Who does it go towards?
So I'll say it on here. The organization is Lutheran Community Services Northwest. They have a program, an advocacy program here in Spokane. I'm going to pull up a list of some of the things they do. Now, they do not want to be mentioned in social media posts. They do not want to be tagged as well.
Okay.
And I talked with them about this because I asked in advance. I just wanted to be as respectful as possible.
Yeah.
While still contributing. But to give a small list of the things that they do, they provide relief and resources to SA survivors in our city, which SA stands for sexual abuse or assault. They provide 24-hour support lines with 24/7 responses linked to all 6 local ERs. They provide a sexual abuse specialized nurse trained in medical forensic exams. They provide leads on sexual abuse and assault cases with task forces in our area of Spokane and Northern Idaho to combat SA and human trafficking. They work with children who are survivors, including their families, and provide therapy for these people and more.
Wow.
So it's something where these people are truly combating this issue in a way that is correct, right, rational. And, to support that is my drive to fight back in the right way, because I tell this to a lot of people when they, just in general, why doesn't excuse how. You can be right about why you're upset or why you're doing something, but how you do that. Intentions don't outweigh impact. If that impact is negative, your intentions don't matter.
Right.
So it's something where I handled things wrongly out of being self-righteous when I was younger. And I'm not going to blame myself for that. I was a child, you know what I mean? Like I was like, what else am I supposed to do? Not be upset about it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But, now that I'm a grown ass man, like, at the end of the day, and I want to provide a safe space for the community. I want to give back to the community that's shown me love, and to do that in a way that is really important to me. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
No, that's really cool. This is the kind of thing that will be available online soon.
Yeah, that's the hope. Hoping to get the website up fully operational no later than spring 2026.
Okay.
I just want it to be perfect.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I'm going to take my time on it, and if it needs to be extended to ensure that, I will. Because you can't rush fine art.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Definitely.
But this is the first time I've ever done something like this, and the support has been almost overwhelming, and it just warms my heart a lot. But it also shows me that it matters to other people, and it just gives me more drive to do this because, I know that I'm not alone. I know that the people that I know who have gone through that category of trauma is not alone.
Yeah.
And there's way more people that probably have never spoken up about it because they felt alone.
Yeah.
And, you know, if I can change that for our city, if I can spread awareness, then I should. So
absolutely. I mean, that's amazing. That's so cool you're doing that. When it goes live officially, I'll definitely make sure to like share it all and like and support as well. So
which I appreciate. And I don't want anything in return from it. Like I don't want any notoriety or nothing from this. Like I think a lot of people, especially in misogynist areas, and you know, in that comparison, because the bar is set so low that like people mistake baseline for brilliance. And I think, you know, what I'm doing to speak up about it is the bare minimum. And that's not to refute other efforts by other people, more so where it's like, this is something everybody should be vocal about. You know what I mean? And what I'm doing isn't this heroic thing. This is just simply the bare minimum. This is,
No, I mean, that's great. And so, I mean, would you say, and through this, like it has translated into who you are as an artist, right? I mean, like you have a song called beat a pussy pedo up, which is very like, it's very in your face. It's very like it's aggressive, but it's like that's what it's meant to be. It's meant to invoke like, you know, this is what I went through. I mean, and this is what people go through. And people need art to as an outlet for that.
I was gonna say it's a cathartic release via the translation of self-expression. For sure. I was also calling out somebody in that song that was in Spokane. That sample at the beginning was a Spokane artist that tripled down on doing that and being a predator and, you know, being a pedophile, to be quite frank. And I was like, no, I can't just sit back and let this person get away with this. And I found out because I was collaborating with them, and then one of my friends was like, isn't this your homie? And he sends me receipts on receipts on receipts,
oh my gosh,
of them trying to like sext a 16-year-old girl. That like, I was just, and I put him on blast, and then he kept doubling down, and then he sent a voice message to someone else that I know. They sent me a video recording of that, and I just converted that to a wave, and I just threw it in the song,
right?
Because I was like, that's irrefutable proof. Like I didn't do it for clout or for beef. I was like, you should be aware this artist uses his status to try and do these awful things,
right?
And so that's why that was another catalyst for that song, was not to necessarily perpetuate violence, although per se, I'm not going to say violence isn't an answer for some things, but like more so where I was releasing a lot of freaking frustration, and it struck a nerve, and, you know, and I wanted to spread awareness on it. And so I talked about a lot of hypotheticals and in that song, and like, you know, what is a predator going to do if they got catfished by a grown man? You know, what are they going to do now? Are they going to act as tough as they did to that child? I sure as hell don't think they would. You know what I mean? And that's what that song was about. So
I remember seeing messages come up, and I don't think I was ever attached to anything. I just saw stuff happen, and I was just like, this is it was it was a very necessary thing to do, to call someone out, to make sure like you don't like this. We should not be giving this person a platform to be, you know, if he's trying to do this. And so I was like, this is good.
And I mean, for better or for worse, people feel very strongly about me because I come across very strongly on things. I'm just a very animated and passionate person. And
well, we shouldn't stand for things that are that if you have proof that someone is being a predator, they should be called out for it.
Oh, agreed.
And whether or not they've acted on it like completely or sent text like that, they should be. I would hope that if someone did it to my daughter or my son, like I would definitely go on blast. I would use my platform as a way to let people know, do not
don't work with this person.
Work with this person. So
it's all fun and games until you're the target, and I know what being that target's like, and it is not worth it. So it's like I just, you know, I was just like, I can't not say something knowing about it, and that's you know why that happened. But yeah,
well, I want to talk about we're gonna just do a quick over to Distorted Dystopia. This was, I imagine, a long process of creating a 3-volume project
series.
Can't really call it, I wasn't going to call it an album, but like it's 3 albums, it's 30 songs, 10 a 3-part 3-song like I'm saying so many things project, but I've gone through it and I've listened to it, and it's sonically and like just like musically, like you have so many different, it's all kind of in the same realm, obviously, of like the music you make, but how did you make a 30-track like album project and like how long, how many years does this take?
Took 5.
Okay.
It took 5 years. Before I learned how to produce, or like took the chance on like learning during COVID, I heard JPEG Mafia's music and I was like, one day I'm going to drop an album. And then that turned into like, one day I'm going to drop a 30-song album. And so once I was able to facilitate it and I realized, you know, the songs that are on there, I was like, nah, I'm going to hold on to this one for a while. Started looking at my vault. Out of that 30 songs, I made over 300.
Holy cow.
Yeah. And that's not a joke. That's not a joke. Whether these are lyrical, vocal compositions to, you know, digital production compositions to instrumentations, like I made over 300.
Wow.
And, you know, my vault is still expanding. And it's something where it's like, I really sat there and took a lot of time, took a lot of sacrifice. And, you know, I wanted to make sure that if and when it was ready to release, that it came out and that it was truly quality and it defied the standard of everything else that I had released previous.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
In the process of making this, like in the 3 volumes, so they came out, it was in May, June.
It was June, July, August.
Oh, June, July, August.
Yeah.
And like, so is each volume like have its own like, is it like, has its own theme, or is it like kind of all just like one amalgamation?
I would say it's like one amalgamation of like my world into 3 segments.
Okay.
And so it starts off with, in part 1, the first thing that happens in at least most Western dystopians is the fall of America. So that's why I started with that topic, you know what I mean? From talking on the political margins to, you know, then the Northern Star, which then after the Northern Star, which is the last like Americanized like track, it goes to Johannesburg, Africa, where District 9, the film was made. And then after that, at the end of District 9, the spoiler alert, the prawn and the prawn's child take off in the mothership. Then we go to Interstellar Traveler. Then the ship crashes and we get to Foreign Terrain. And that song is like Jake Sully from Avatar.
Oh.
And then you have God's Level Wounds from after encountering, you know, these things in Foreign Terrain. So it's very well sequenced.
Okay.
Is my point.
Yeah.
And, you know, part 1 is getting you tailored to that. Then we transition out of that sequence into like a little bit more of the auto-tune material.
Yeah.
And now it's like, all right, now we're just going to interject these like bangers and get you used to the cyberpunk tone, the glitchiness, the unorthodox production engineering, which shout out Sherm. He engineered at least half of these and recorded at least half of these. Pretty much the majority of my time working with them was to get the songs that are on this engineered by him done.
Nice.
But
yeah, well, now I'm looking at, because like the titles for the volume 2 are like General Grievous, Event Horizon, like Falling Through the Glass, which I'm guessing is like kind of like an Alice in Wonderland. Like, kind of like,
it's just the aspect of like falling in reverse from a very high place and just shattering things as you go down.
Yeah.
But like at the same time, while you're falling down, you're looking at this beautiful, breathtaking view. It's like very weird emotions. Yeah.
So you also, and we don't need to go. I don't want to go back to this, but like you also released Sin's Paradise earlier in the year.
Yeah.
And so like you released
like 40 songs ish,
this year, which is 38 to be exact. I mean, maybe you have 38 more
between the 2 projects, but then I dropped 2 songs with YP. I dropped with Jordan, so I'm at least 40.
You're not like sleeping.
No, I'm working every day.
And you have a full-time job.
Yeah, I do freelance work. I work on my own persona. Full-time job. Yeah, it's every day, all day, every day.
Yeah.
I have I'm engaged to my fiance now. And
congrats.
Yeah, thank you. So it's like I'm a full-time partner, full-time family man. Like I work my ass off every day because if I'm going to ask, if I want this, I need to act like it.
Yeah, definitely.
So.
I would like, it's hard to like talk about an entire like 30 we could have an entire podcast about this project,
right.
and I don't want to. But I would say, like, go listen to it and experience it. I'm actually, now when you say, I want to go and just kind of sit with it, because I don't. You probably do this a lot. I don't sit with music a lot, and I listen to music when it comes out on Fridays. Like, new music comes out, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna listen to it while I'm driving, or like while I'm working on something, and like, it doesn't give you that. It doesn't give you the attention that it deserves, especially stuff like this. Like, it's so layered, and it's so. I'm amazed by like how you could create this and only be 24.
Thank you.
Like,
hey, I appreciate that a lot.
What are you most proud of, like, having to like finish it and now have released all 3 volumes of it?
Oh, that's tough. That's really hard. I love all these pieces. I would say one of the things I'm most proud of about the project series is the fact that I was able to release all 30 songs.
Yeah.
Like that was a pretty large testament of skill. I wasn't for the perception of other people. It was for my own perception of myself.
Right.
I was like, I wanted to prove to myself I could do this shit no matter how hard it may seem.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Especially at a quality that high. I was like, yeah, I'm going to force myself to do this. So I would say that's definitely one of the things that I'm most proud of for it.
That's cool.
But I would say the outro, the very last track of part 3 there's probably like 2,000, 3,000 cuts in that project file that I willingly made. I'm gonna say there's 86 mixing faders that are actively running. I don't know how many automations are in there, but there's quite a few. But that was, the project file was so big it crashed my laptop. I couldn't open it anymore, and so I had to upgrade to a Mac Studio because of that singular project file. So
that's crazy.
That was something where I was like, yeah, that's definitely a good one. The song before Ghost Whispers is Glue Compression Professional. That's actually produced by a multi-platinum producer, Chase the Money.
Oh wow.
He's produced for E40, JID, J. Cole, Faucet Failure for Ski Mask the Slump God, to name a few.
Oh, wow.
He came to Spokane, and he was at the bodega at the time. And I bought the beat with someone else. Then I bought out their portion because they didn't hop on it in a timely fashion. And that's like no shade or anything. It's more so whereas like, I don't want to let this sit. I need to get on this. You know what I mean? And then after the time, I was like, okay, I'm just going to sit on it so I can do it justice. I haven't promoted it yet. I ended up getting Chase the Money's phone number. I never texted him it. Once I put a little promo towards it, I'm going to.
That's awesome.
Just shot in the dark. Why not? See if it lands. You never know. But yeah, so that one's another pretty big accomplishment. Altogether, I spent $1,000 on that beat. So that was the most expensive beat I've ever bought. And that's one of the only beats I've hopped on that I didn't produce.
Wow. That's cool.
Yeah.
I feel like it's always better to like have these conversations and then go listen to the music.
Yeah.
Because like I feel like as I'm listening to it, I'm creating my own opinions on it, and I'm just going through it and being like, oh, that's interesting. Like it's like I say this a lot, and I don't mean it in any negative way. It's not my style of music that I listen to. Right. But what I will say to that is, I really appreciate the music, and seeing you do it live is a whole different thing. I love seeing you perform live, and this kind of all culminates in like the new Anomalies, right?
Yeah. We have a show September 20th. It's a Saturday. Big Dipper. Doors are at 7. Shows at 8. In order, we have DJ Trizzle as the one who's holding it down on the tables for us. Shout out my boy Trizzle. Him and I actually go way back. Nate's Anonymous is the host as well as the opener. Kid Judo and Brant Dimitri. Brant Dimitri was originally going to be on the show, but he had a time conflict, so he's unfortunately not able to make it, but he will be there in spirit. Okay. So it'll be Kid Judo as the second artist. Then we have one of my A1s, family that is not blood, Bambi. Him and I go way back. We met in 2017. That's a very important person to me. Bambi is a phenomenal poet. He's not a rapper. He's a goddamn poet. Like you got to pay attention to what he's saying. He's just so swift. And so Bambi's, third. Then we have Braden, all caps / his band. Super excited for that one. It's going to be a very vibrant energy, very live performance, and a group, trio of just some very talented and high class musicians. Then we will have special guest appearance number 1, which is Miko. And Miko is that hungry 19-year-old. Sounds like he's a 35-year-old man on the microphone. And I'm not joking. Like, he's like 6'4" too. He's like just this gigantic 19-year-old.
Oh my
dude.
gosh.
But he's super good at rapping. He's super good at performing. He's professional. He's hungry for it. And he shows that he's hungry for it. I remember Bambi and I co-headlined July 18th at the Chameleon for a Spy vs. Spy themed show. Miko performed there. He was 19, underage. He couldn't stay, at the venue. He still brought like 15 plus people to a 21 plus venue. And I was like, okay.
That's
like,
awesome.
Yeah, I was like really impressed. I was like, okay. And he bodied it. The crowd control was great. He was dominant on the stage. There was nothing but conviction. So that's why I chose to have him as my special guest. Then I will start my performance. And then midway through, the second person will come on, the second special guest, which is the one and only Jada. If you know, you know.
Yeah.
She is literally one of the pillars of the city and is the only artist I've ever seen, locally speaking especially, that I've seen headline a knit show. Out the muscle. Out the muscle. I was super, I found it very incredulous that she said yes to being my special guest. I was like, oh, wow. I was like, her and I really respect each other's art, but it's something where I was like, I wasn't sure if I was in the place to be as deserving to have somebody that big as a special guest appearance, and she was so kind as to say yes. Yeah,
that's so nice. She's I will say Jada. All your I've met most of the people on your bill, but I've interviewed Jada, and Jada is this salt of the earth. Like I feel like she would, if I called her, I barely know her. If I needed her to help me with something, she'd probably do it.
yeah. She's a super genuine, down to earth person.
That's not an invitation to go do that though.
Right. Agreed. But when she steps on the stage, you'll see nothing short of absolute lyrical density through sheer conviction and prowess that is venerated, and rightfully so. The reason why she's the second special guest is because she is a true veteran, and she's a veteran to our city. And there's the juxtaposition between new age and the person, one of the people that made it possible for the next waves to show up. And so that's why those two special guests were there. And then obviously I'm going to perform, I'm going to do my thing, and I get possessed when I hop on stage. I don't know what's going to happen. But
you very much get possessed on stage.
Yeah, I can't help it, man. I get overcome with emotions, and I become so manic in a good way.
Yeah. When you're trying to decide on a set list for a show like this, we're a week away, so I'm guessing I'm sure you're set on a set list. How do you pick from the 40 plus tracks you've released this year, and your back catalog, right. That back, but older stuff.
So technically my catalog right now, I looked at Muso AI, which keeps track of all of your credits and your streams across all platforms. I have 94 songs out.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and there's only gonna be more. But it was really hard for me to pick a set for this debut solo headline, but I have the set ironed out. The order is going to be very dynamic, and I'm super excited. Typically speaking, I practice. I'll get a pool of 30, and I'll just practice. And then I'll see which ones on random each time I practice, because again, I want to be prepared for the unpredictable. You know what I mean? Shows oftentimes don't go as you plan. So it's I'm going to prepare as if it's not going to go to plan. Right. And, I will just cycle through a bunch of songs on random, once I'm okay, this fits the bill, this fits this, I can, do this, and I'll start seeing what pairs well together. And then I'll kind of piece it from there once I whittle down the songs where I'm okay, I'm for sure going to do this. And then I whittle down order that way through that random practice.
Nice. Yeah. I lost my train of thought. I'm assuming the show's all ages.
Yes. Big Dipper, all ages.
Yeah, always. And I don't know if always, but I know that they will be for this show. I was talking to Top and Jang about how important that is.
Oh my gosh.
And I kind of want to talk about it with you as well, because I feel you're only 24, and I feel like the music that you make really speaks to the younger generation. And not saying that you're not making music for 40-year-olds, right? But
I know
but I do feel like it's so important for you to be able to perform at an all ages show, right?
Yeah. And I'll just say this: when I came onto the scene, I was part of that new wave, and I became that new wave.
Yeah.
I'm no longer part of that. We're in this transition period where I'm noticing we're having these young artists emerge again.
Yeah.
And I'm talking wave of 18 to about 21.
Mm-hmm.
They're starting to emerge like flocks of birds.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like flocks, like they're just starting to come up out of nowhere. And there's a lot of them, and they're cultivating their own community in their outreach to their age group. And so the reason why I'm trying to do all ages is to encourage those people to, yes, come forward, drop music. Yes, come on.
Yeah.
Like, we need that as a city. I think it's so important for the culture and the community to be expanding and ubiquitous. If it is not, Spokane's art and cultural community won't sustain itself. And so I want to do my part in facilitating all ages shows so I can encourage, those artists that are thinking about doing it to step up and try it, because you never know how far you'll go until you try it. And I think doubt causes more failure, and it will halt your dreams and your progress more than failure itself ever could, because you're at least trying stuff when you fail. Yeah. You're learning.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? So I think that philosophy is why, like, I really push for all ages shows. It's unfortunate. Spokane does not have a lot of all ages venues, and I want that to be changed.
And we don't have any small, like 50 cap rooms that are all, I mean, they're there. We have a few. We have like, they're starting to emerge.
Right.
Which is great, but like, we just need more.
Yeah.
Like, we need more. We need a spot like the Chameleon to be more all ages, and it's going to keep on happening. There's going to be places, and like, obviously the knit is here, and it has all ages shows. And I think especially when my kids become like wanting to go to shows, I want there to be more opportunity for them to go see whatever type of music they want to. There was someone coming through Spokane, I don't know, like a year ago, and they were going through the Chameleon. Might have been lucky at the time, and it was just a friend of mine. She's my friend's daughter, who I've known since she was a baby, and she really wanted to see this show, and it was like one of her favorite bands, and it was
21,
and it was at Lucky Unis 21 and over, and it was just like such a bummer when like kids are listening to music that is coming through Spokane, they can't go see it. So.
Right. And the youth is what's next.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I was the youth at one point. I was what's next. And now the youth is what's next. And you know what I mean? I want to do my part and to help cultivate that and help facilitate, to be a resource for those artists that, are hungry for this, who really want to give it a try and, to do this the right way and stuff. Which there's not a right or wrong way to create music, but there is a right or wrong way to publish it. Right. But that's a separate conversation. But yeah, it's just all ages and being accepting of that, I think, is so important. And, I really want our city to push for that more. Yeah.
And this is your first solo headlining show, correct?
Yes.
And last of 2025.
Yep. Last show of the year. For you. But there might be some other things coming. So I mean, it doesn't mean I won't be a feature for someone,
right?
You know what I mean? But like on a bill, it's going to be my last show for the year.
Yeah. How much work have you would say has gone into this? Like
into this specific show? Quite a bit. Yeah, quite a bit. It's I would say, thankfully, my job is made easy because everybody here is so respectful. They're so kind. They're great artists. They're professionals. You know what I mean? People that I love and care about outside of the fact that they are just joys to work with. Yeah. So from that perspective, it's really easy. It's very seamless in the aspect of work. But you see how consistently I'm airing out the show and like posting super consistently, going out for shoots, getting photography lined up. Yeah,
you're killing it. Like I tell this to a lot of artists I talk to, is just like, there are a few people in Spokane that take their art seriously, or I should say a few. You treat it like a business, and you treat it like where you respect it and you want it to be the best. And and I see that in your performances. I see it in the music that you make. I just see it in how you compose yourself. And it's very, everyone should take note when they see you perform and just how you,
thank you.
Do it all, because it's a lot of work, and it doesn't go unnoticed from me, and I imagine from a lot of people too. Like it's cool to see like you killing it, and like And what's next for you? What do you want to do? Is there a 40 track album next year?
So
50?
I will say, so Synesthete Volume 1 volumes insinuate that there will be another one of similar size, if not stature.
Yeah.
And so now, do I have a second one on the way? I'm not going to answer that question.
Right.
I'm going to plead the fifth. But I will say that I do have quite a bit lined up for 2026 already, and I'm working on achieving that and getting all those ducks in a row right now. I will also shout out the videographer who did the video promo for the show, as he is my videographer I'm on a retainer with. Little Pimp Square.
Okay.
Phenomenal. It's like, dude is prodigal, both as a rapper, producer, engineer, and videographer. Like, just absolute menace, just unit of a 21-year-old. And I worked with him when he was younger, and I knew, I was like, oh no, this dude's gonna be crazy.
That's awesome.
he's gonna supersede me, he's gonna pass me for sure, like kind of energy. And I see that, and I was like, I'm gonna place my eggs in this basket. And when I was looking around for a consistent retainer, I asked for quite a lot, because my music it's not easy to shoot,
right?
To be quite frank.
Like, yeah, you got to storytell with it, right?
Yeah. There's got to be visuals. It's got to keep up with the chops and the unorthodox engineering and programming I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
And he can do all of it. He can facilitate it. And I'm like, holy cow! It just beats me. Like, anyways, so I'm on a retainer with him, and we're actively shooting right now. We're working on quite a bit of material. And I will say the next time I'm dropping is my birthday, which is December 29th.
Okay.
So that is the next time I will drop. Until then, I'm going to stay pretty quiet, but it's so I can diligently sharpen my blades, but also reap the fruits of my labor, which is my hard work, and make sure that I'm appreciating that. I think something that I did this year is I almost did too much. Almost.
How do you like balance that? Because like, I feel like
I'm still learning.
I mean, as I luckily get to produce podcasts in my off time. Like, Spokecast is just like one part of like a bunch of other podcasts I produce, and I have trouble with it. And I mean, I have kids and I have family and I have other things too. Like, how do you do it?
It's hard to answer outside of the philosophy of existentialism, being the master of your own fate, in the sense where it's like, I think my limits are up for me to determine. And I'm in that stage where I'm finding that out. And I did find that out this year. And, like, I'll be honest, I went hard enough this year that my body actually had a seizure March 1st at about 2 or 3 in the morning.
Oh, wow.
And I had to miss that Chameleon show, their 1-year anniversary with Scheming, because of that. And it was something where that was really eye-opening. I was like, damn, I'm doing too much. Just maybe a little too much. My body is literally convulsing because of it. So I was like, it was a very eye-opening moment. And it was also a health thing too. Which never happened again. Thank goodness. It's not like a condition or nothing. It was just stress. It was overworking myself. I was working while I was sick. I wasn't resting. And it required that for me to do quite a bit of what I did this year.
Yeah.
And that was something where I was like, okay, it's not that I'm not going to go as hard, but I'm going to be a lot more methodical in approach.
When it sounds like you're making choices that like will only improve your health and your lifestyle.
Yeah.
Because
which will improve my art.
I mean, we don't need to go too much, but you meant, can we talk about not drinking?
Yeah. I'm not like an alcoholic or former alcoholic or anything, but like, I was a chronic cannabis user, and I've had a long history of just not proper boundaries with things like that.
Yeah.
And it's just something where I was like, yeah, I'm gonna take time off and go towards sobriety. I'm finally off smoking, and which I started when I was like 13 years old.
Oh, wow.
Like, it's just, I mean, locker room high schooler, breaking into high schoolers' locker rooms in junior high, stealing their vapes and hitting them.
Yeah.
Not making good choices, but that's okay. You live and you learn.
But would you say it like has like definitely like helped like your energy and all, like every piece of what you're trying to do?
Absolutely. The only thing that I'm struggling to reestablish is my sleep, and it's because by default I'm nocturnal, and I was using cannabis chronically to go to sleep.
Oh, okay.
So I'm still in that period where I'm like, damn, I'm averaging like 4 hours a day right now, 4 or 3, somewhere in there. And it's like,
sometimes, I mean, I sleep is important,
right?
And I try to get as much as I can, but I know that like, if you're not doing those things and you're not like hurting your body like that, and you are getting sleep, like it's almost better than doing those things and getting 8 hours of sleep.
No, agreed. And that's it's definitely showing that is the case.
Yeah.
And every other aspect of my life has just substantially benefited.
Yeah. Melatonin. I've recently started taking that, and it's kind of helped me go to sleep. I don't know but if you're trying not to do any chemicals, like it's very hard.
No, I'm medicated for my bipolar diagnosis.
Of course.
My bipolar ADHD diagnosis. And one of the medications is I was on this thing called prod-synes, which is military grade PTSD medication. It still wasn't strong enough. So I'm on a different one, and we're still troubleshooting it because it's a little too strong. I'm like, dude, I wake up and I'm like, I feel like I got hit by a semi-truck, dude. Like, I'm so drowsy and like need like 600 milligrams of caffeine, and that's not going to help me either, because then I'm just going to stay up and lose more sleep. And like,
totally. Yeah, no, I sometimes don't consider my my Adderall that I take, that how much it affects me during the day than going to sleep at night.
Yeah.
Oh, this has been great though, Prod. Like I've said I've showered you with praise, but I really mean that. Like you're one of the best in Spokane, and watching you perform is such a highlight whenever you get to see you perform.
Thank you.
And I would encourage anyone to get out to New Anomalies, happening on September 20th. It's going to be a busy weekend, but it's going to be a fun weekend. Lots going on.
Conversations is happening the day before. I'm trying to pop out. You got Black Punks, the 13th. That's going to be a rager. I mean, depending on when you drop this, it was a rager. I already know. Like, there's so many events, and I love that. It's actually a really nice problem to have, because it just shows the culture is flourishing. I love that. That's so good. So it makes my heart full, because, at the end of the day, I just want our city to eat, and what I can do to help make that a reality is what I'm here to do. So
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, Prod, how do people find you, and like what are the best ways for people to support you?
So Instagram is the social media I'm most active on. You can find me at prod-synes-theet, prod-synesthete. You can find me on all platforms under that same handle. And Instagram has my linktr in my bio. You can find every single thing that I'm doing, every single platform that I release on, YouTube, Spotify, all of it.
Yeah. And you can find that in the description of this show too. So you can go follow him on Instagram, wherever you want to follow him. Find his music on Spotify, Apple. I know there's other things you want to talk about, but I think we need to have another episode of it in the near future, talking about some of this tech stuff you're talking about, because like I want to get into it, but I want to give it a full thing. I've been thinking about having like a more roundtable discussions about stuff. And I'd love to maybe have you back sometimes too to talk about that kind of stuff, because like that kind of stuff really interests me, but I want to save it for another time.
No, absolutely. And just let me know time and place, so I'm there. So I will do what I can to support, because you do amazing work, and I'm very honored to be featured on here. So thank you for that.
I'm happy to tell your story, and I hope someone took this and learned something about you today. So I learned a lot about you today.
Thank you.
Well, thank you all so much for being here on Spokecast. Until next time, peace.